Good morning. My name is Holly StClair. I'm the Chief Digital Officer for Massachusetts. John Melster, when you watch this, I am not after your job. I am not the CTO. But I do digital, and it's great. It's a lot of fun in Massachusetts. And I want to talk to you a little bit about how we get user research into our workflow, as well as then continue to watch the numbers and get feedback ongoing throughout the project. When I was brought on almost a year and a half ago, I was given a challenge by the governor and Secretary Nunley to rebuild our state's website and make it constituent service focused and have it data driven. So you'll see a lot of evidence in that and what I'm about to talk about. I also am going to go through a number of actual tools that we use because we're going to open it up for conversation, and I wanted to sort of just give you a flavor of the different types of feedback and the different forms we can get it, so that if something is interesting to you, we can talk about it afterwards during the discussion. So just to set some context for you and the challenge that was ahead of us, we did a poll and we found that 75% of our constituents engage with us through our website. And this was done a couple years ago, so I bet that number is even higher now. Mobile app and texting are that small just because we didn't offer those services. I'm not sure why that's moving itself. All right, there we go. So the other thing we looked at is we had 250,000 pages and documents on our website, and we got in the way of our constituents and what they're looking for all the time. You know, our well-intentioned commissioners and different leaders would put up their weekly video message and their newsletter, which would get in the way of the actual business people wanted to come to our website to do. So we really needed to figure out what we needed to focus on, what we wanted to bring to the new website, and what could we leave behind or rethink. And so we looked at the Google Analytics data. We found that 10% of our content drives 89% of our traffic. That is a much more manageable number of pages and services to look at. One of the first things we did is we did 3 months of user research, and we created these personas or profiles of people and the different things that they do. You can see we have a student and a state official. They come to our website to do very different things. We really think about the conceptual model. Are they task-based or are they department-based? We look at the language, we look at the motivation, engagement, and then we look at the actions that they're going to take. These are very helpful in the beginning to understand the broad groups of people we were going to be serving on our website, but it was also, we helped us realize we needed to go to a task-based approach. One of the things that we do when we work is we do a try, test, and iterate approach. We know we're not going to get it right the first time, but I think the key is to actually go back and iterate. And that's sometimes what I hear when I hear user feedback. It's really important at the beginning. We need to do user-centered design and take our time. That is true, but what is also just as important is the continued follow-through and the redesign and getting that feedback and then making the changes. Here you can see we do testing with the Perkins School for the Blind on every piece of our software or in our products. And we learn a lot from that. Even though it was WCAG 2.0 compliant, it was not a meaningful interaction with someone who uses the Zoom reader, and she missed the whole right-hand section of our navigation. So we changed it. This is a timeline that shows you the various tools we used in different parts of our process, and I can go through these more slowly if folks would like during discussion. You can see in cycle 0, we started with personas. Cycle 1, we used Google Analytics and did our our data scientists did cluster analysis. They are data machines, they're really great. They did cluster analysis to identify our top topics so that we could really focus our efforts in design. We used tree jack testing, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about. Chalkmark and others. So let me just dive into 2 examples really quick, and let's see. I'm going to have to navigate from here. Thank you very much. Yep, pie tree. So this is tree jack. This is an example of how you can test your navigation before you get started. So we send this to a panel of users, and we go ahead and ask that we give them a question. In this case, it was, you're looking for unemployment. Where would you go? And they don't have any graphics, they just have words that they navigate through that represent our navigation. So here you can see they started at home. Majority of them went to working, unemployment, and then unemployment benefits. Most of that's green, it worked very well, right? See, a few people went off to living. I wouldn't have expected that, but they did. So we thought a little bit about that, but we kept the navigation the same. Can you go back to the second question? Thank you, yep. This one is about you're moving to Massachusetts and you want to understand how schools perform, and you're going to look at MCAS, which is our standard state testing. So we started them on home, and we thought they'd go to learning. You can see a lot of people went to learning, K through 12, choosing a school. Great. It's the way we expected it to work. You can see almost half the people went to living. We would have never guessed that. And so we ended up putting an additional set of links under living that would help people get that information. This is a really easy way to test before you even build anything. And you can have a panel of users that will help you do that work. Do you want to go back to the PowerPoint? Yeah. OK, let's go ahead and launch. Let's see if I can launch this. You're probably going to launch it for me. The crazy egg app at the bottom, the hyperlink, please. So the other piece we have is Crazy Egg. I don't know if you guys have seen these maps. These are heat maps that you can put on your web pages, and it's really helpful to understand what people are doing. So 70% of our constituents come to our website through Google. They go directly to the page they're looking for, and they bypass everything else. 30% of our constituents come to our homepage, and I bet most of those people are govies looking for information about ourselves, but we don't have data to totally back that up yet. Of those 30% that come to our homepage, you can see that 30% of them go straight to the search bar within our homepage. That leaves only a very small minority of people that actually go through the traditional navigation. That data really helps you narrow in and focus on what parts of your website you're going to spend your time improving. I can keep going, but I'm out of time. We have a number of tools we can talk about and also user stories. But I'm going to invite my colleagues up to the stage, and we're going to do a couple polling questions to get a sense of where everybody else is in the room.
That was awesome.